Hello, Marcel, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. For the first time on Speaking of Everything is very interesting, St. Martin, in an industry that is central to us here on this island, Mr. Marcel Javois. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Gibbs. How you doing? Thank you for this wonderful opportunity that I have the opportunity to, just give a little bit of myself to St. Martin and to your viewers, and to share what I do as a general manager at Simpson Resorts.
Well, I was going to mention your title, but you mentioned
Yes.
So you're general manager at the Simpson Resort and Spice, right?
That is correct. Yes.
How has it been? Because here you have this industry that I always say we've been the leaders in the Northeastern Caribbean.
That's correct.
There are very few natives in the position that you are right now. So maybe share with us your history in this industry.
Well, for me, it started as at a young age. After attending the Milton Peters College, it was what to do after. Whether my mom wanted me to further my studies. I had a sister living in Holland, and I had a brother living in the U.S. So it was where do I further pursue my education, and one of the things that I did, because during my tenure at Milton Peters College, I was given an opportunity to have a summer job at Mullet Bay back then, and this is many years ago. And I worked as an operator. I think it was for about a month. And
how was that? Because it had this very old
switchboard system. So from that, it was a wonderful experience. That was my first job actually. And so after that, I went back to school, completed school at Milton Peters College, and it was okay. What do we do? So I said to my mom, I said, listen, let me go and get a job so I could, build the funds that is needed. Didn't want to put too much stress on, what she had accumulated. So decided to seek a job over at Royal Palm. Within the first 6 months of my job at Royal Palm, I became the front desk supervisor.
That's fast.
Yeah, first 6 months, because I love what I do. I just love the being able to have conversation, discuss, meet new people every single day. So from that, I was a front desk supervisor, helping others work through the process, and then I grew to the assistant front desk manager.
At Royal Palm?
At Royal Palm. I became comfortable. Okay, and in 1995, my mom, she started to get serious about this early in the year. She was like, okay, well, let's go by your brother in the U.S. and see what is there for you. Let's go and feel it out and see what is going on. So we went to my sister and I. We went to the U.S., visited my brother. I think it was in August. And while we were there, and we all know what happened in 1995. So Lewis came. I was in the U.S. during Lewis, and it was a daunting situation for me, sitting, watching TV, and just knowing that my mom, my family is back in St. Martin, and of course the news back then was, St. Martin is destroyed, is wiped off of the map. So we were able to get back to St. Martin. I think we came back on the first flight to St. Martin. And when I came back, of course, I had my job, so went back to the job, and I told my mom, I said, listen, she at that time worked at Mullet Bay. So I told her, I said, I'm the youngest of my siblings, and I was like, my responsibility now is to take care of you. I don't want you to go back to work. Let me do this. Let me do what I have to do. And continued along the path at Royal Palm as a front desk assistant manager. Then from front desk assistant manager, I jumped to assistant manager of the resort. At that time, we had Johan Hombergen, At a given point, Peggy Ann Andros, who is, I think she's involved in the government right now. She was also the manager, and I worked very closely with her. And I think she was 6 months, and then when she left, I assumed the responsibility of general manager at Royal Palm. And there was a gentleman, I'm not going to call his name, he was from Bonaire, and he told me, he said, I give you 6 months. Knowing me, Mr. Gibbs, that was a challenge for me because I knew how much I love and how passionate I was about the industry. I was the general manager at Royal Palm for about 15 years. So after him giving me 6 months, he was in purchasing. So after giving me 6 months, I lasted about 15 years.
That's amazing. That's a very long time.
And the good thing is, while I was going through the process, I did not sit and just depend in, and I grew an experience, but I also did a lot of different courses. Okay, I remember back, I think it was in the early 90s, via the SHTA back then. They brought in Cornell University. Oh yeah. Yes, and I was able to be part of that course of hospitality management, which was a very eye-opener for me. So that changed my perspective of the hospitality industry. And then from there, I continued to do different courses. I was a recipient of the ARDA, American Resort Development Association. I was also a recipient of the Crystal Pineapple Award here in St. Martin as the General Manager of the Year. But I continued to pursue via different courses. You know, I love the industry, I love what I do, and my goal was to grow. 15 years later, after working at Royal Palm, I received a call from a brother of mine, and I call him a brother because we live very good, and this is Mr. Jules James.
Quite a good guy.
At that time, he was managing Pelican, okay? And he called me, he said, you know, my CEO was over there he walked Royal Palm, and he's always impressed, so he wants to see you. He asked me, you know, who's the manager at Royal Palm? I want to see that gentleman. I want to have a conversation. So I went over one day, and exactly him and Jules were sitting in Jules' office having conversation, and he was like, oh, this is the guy. And he said, Jules, have a conversation with him, make him an offer. I was like, I mean, I was at Royal Palm very comfortable. At Jules and myself, I managed Royal Palm, he managed Flamingo, and when he left, I was managing both Royal Palm and Flamingo for a short while before they got a manager to oversee Flamingo. So I was like, okay, what is this gentleman talking about? So one morning I was home just meditating and just concentrating on what the day is going to bring. I received a call from Jules. Marcel, the CEO was serious. I was like, Jules, let me think about it. He said, no, you have to make a decision this week. And Mr. Gibbs, I am a risk taker. I just decided, I said, listen, I want something new, because I saw at that time Pelican was a bigger resort. At Royal Palm, it was 143 units, all facing the ocean. I go to work, it was nice, you meet your guests, you meet your clients, and my style of managing is I manage by walking around. I want to be where the business is. I want to be able to have conversation with guests. I want to know what their experience is all about. So I made a decision. I resigned Royal Palm and I went to Pelican. And that time, Pelican was going through some turmoil and some ups and downs. But if we fast forward to today, I must say it was a very good decision that I made, because today we are known as Simpson Bay Resorts, Marina and Spa, and we are doing very well. And I've been at the helm at this resort for at least 14 years now, and going strong. I take very little credit, and you would hear me say this, because I understand the philosophies of management. I understand the philosophies of leadership. And leadership is about people. And when you aspire to be a leader, the first thing you need to decide is that you have to become a servant of the people. And I give all credit to my staff at Simpson Bay Resort right now, because they're the one that make me shine. I'm a manager that walks around, and I evaluate my staff every day, and they would tell you that. Oh, they would say, oh, Marcel is on the grounds, he's walking around. But they understand that I'm evaluating, because they understand that I have a very close relationship with the guests. Mr. Gibbs, I'm a person that would be on the beach walking around, sitting, having conversation with guests, because if you're my guest at the resort, I want to know about your experience. And if there's something that is not going well, I see it as an opportunity, and I want to make corrections. So who is the best person to tell me if something is wrong? The guest, right. The client. So I welcome those opportunities, and we sit down and we have conversations. So, whenever we have our staff meetings, which is every quarter, I instill that in our staff, and they, I've seen our staff at Simpson Bay Resort grow from the time at Pelican, and we continue to grow every year. You could look at what we are doing as a resort. We continue to invest in the physical plan, the physical resort, physical appearance of the resort. We continue to make sure our staff is well taken care of, because this is the philosophy of the developer. When I worked at Royal Palm, and every resort has their own philosophy. Every company has their own philosophy. When I worked at Royal Palm, the philosophy was, we looked at the bottom line was the most important thing. Then the guests, then the staff. At Simpson Bay Resort, philosophies are much different. The most important is the guests. The second most important is the staff. Because the philosophy of the developer is that if you take care of the guests and you take care of the staff, the bottom line will take care of itself.
Right. I think we got to go to a quick break. All right. In case you've just joined us, this is Speaking of Everything. I'm Marcel Gibbs speaking with Mr. Marcel Javois. He is the general manager at Simpson Bay Resort and Spa. And when we come back, we'll continue to speak with him right here on Speaking of Everything.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Bankomatico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Bankomatico Plus, more of the best.
My guest here on Speaking of Everything is the general manager of the Simpson Bay Resort and Spa, Mr. Marcel Javois, and he's my guest on Speaking of Everything on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. When I listen to what you've done in such a short period of time, I calculate you have over almost 30 years.
30 years, in the industry, yeah. 30 years, yes, yeah.
What's amazing to me is that, I walk in this industry to myself. Started off as a busboy, yes, and went up to a captain, went away, came back as a manager and Muller Bay duty manager. But the thing is that it's an industry where you don't find people like you, because the survival rate is very low. Sure. And my good friend, Mr. Kit Franco, said, Oral, you got to interview Marcel Javois. He told me this months ago, Yes. And then he reminded me one day, I said, I got to give you a call. I said, send me his number. So here you are now.
Yes.
And I'm impressed because I didn't know that you was at that resort.
Yes.
Now, Muller Bay is no longer there. Will never come back, basically. But, you can never say never.
No, let's not say never. We need to remain optimistic.
Exactly. But the thing is that I listen to you, and your style of management is very important, especially in the hospitality industry.
Yes.
You don't get that too often in the industry.
Yeah.
And so what inspired you to develop that attitude as a manager, a general manager?
First of all, let me acknowledge Mr. Franca, somebody that I look up to, because like I said, my mom worked at Mother Bay, and I know you working at Mother Bay, and Mr. Franca is somebody that I have high regard for. And I'll tell you this, that when I was working at Royal Palm, we had the opportunity to then host the Prince. He's now the King of the Netherlands, and he stayed at the resort. And
I was there that day with him.
Yes, I remember that. And he came in, and he was, teaching us, what to do and not to do. So he was basically sharing with, the protocols with us and stuff like that. So, when I, have that conversation, I was like, wow, this is somebody that I would really look up to and I want to be like. To answer your question, Oral, it's about passion. It's about the love of this country. St. Martin is, for me, it's everything. I'm blessed. I've traveled a lot. We go on family vacations. I've traveled. Whenever I go, I always have this little comparison. It's okay. How do we compare? How does St. Martin compare to this country or this island? And I've always walked away and say, boy, we are so unique, as an island, as a country. And for me, I do it all for this wonderful country. When I speak to guests and you hear, members, guests telling you that they've been coming back to this country for 30, 40 years, I wonder, I say, wow, they love this island more than some of us. And that should not be, We welcome them. We want to make sure that they're well taken care of. And that is my passion. That is my passion, because I consider myself an ambassador of this island. And when somebody, regardless, it doesn't have to be at the resort. Mr. Gibbs, I've seen tourists changing a tire on the side of the road. I have stopped and I've assisted, even if it by taking up my phone and calling a service for them or assisting, because I see them as my guests, our guests, and regardless of where they are. And that has been my driving force. Tourism is our only industry, and we need to preserve it. We need to do whatever we can to preserve that. Right now, as an island, I think we have basically slacked off in terms of making sure that those that come behind us understand the importance of service, understand the importance of hospitality. I remember many years ago, there was the slogan from the SMTA, SHTA, tourism is everybody's business. We need to get back to that. We need to make sure that people understand that tourism is everybody's business. And how we could do that is to ensure that we start in the schools.
I want to hold that thought there, because you said something earlier about the prince, who's now king of the Netherlands, when he came there. And I want to make sure that my audience understood when I said I was there. I was not there with Mr. Frank. I was there when the prince stayed at the hotel. In fact, I was in the room, saw him walk out on the balcony, waving to all the tourists. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you was at that location at that time.
Yes, I was at that location because I was involved. I actually had to stay on the property for the time, the duration that they were there.
Oh, okay.
I had to stay on the property because as a responsible party, as a responsible person at that time, I need to make sure I was 24/7 available to whatever the adjutant needed. At one point he needed the prince, the king at that time. He wanted to do jet skis. I mean, I had to call this person, call that person. I mean, it was moving pieces, but you had to be involved in that process because you understood that you can't say no. You need to make it happen. And this is the responsibility of a general manager. I've been involved in situations, and the job is not, I would not call it an office job. This job entails, Mr. Gibbs, various facets, various responsibilities. You have to become a doctor. You have to become a funeral director, because I mean, people passing away at the property. You have to console individuals. You have to become whatever they need you to be, because that's service. You need to be there. They are your guests, and you need to be there for them. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to get back to that place as an island to understand that as a tourism destination, we need to go back to what used to be.
Yeah.
I remember the days, growing up. St. Martiners were very grateful. We are a very grateful people. I had the opportunity to travel to Jamaica with my family late last year in October. And we went to Jamaica. And what I took away from that trip in Jamaica was the gratitude of the people. I mean, every encounter I had, or we had, the people were so grateful. They were like, people told us, we are so happy that you are here. For without you, we would not be able. And I was like, wow. But it triggered something in me. It made me remember that's who we are as a people. But I think we have missed that. I think we have strayed away from that. And it's something that we need to do. I have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility to bring back that aspect of being grateful for tourists when they get here. And being grateful is not only about saying thank you, but being grateful is about showing gratitude. Showing gratitude. From the minute they land and they exit that airplane, it starts. We have to be showing gratitude. That when they leave and they're going back, we have to be showing gratitude.
I got to go to a quick break, Mr. Shaw, but when they come back, I want to ask you to continue on that part where you mentioned SSG and young people, all right?
Yes.
So in case you've just joined us, I'm Oral Gibbs. This is Speaking of Everything. My guest is Mr. Marcel Javois. He is General Manager of the Simpson Bay Resort and Spa. When we come back, we'll continue right here. Please stay with us.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Bankomatico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Bankomatico Plus. More of the.
My guest there, and Speaking of Everything, is Mr. Marcel Javois. He is the General Manager of the Simpson Bay Resort and Spa, and it's good to have him in the program.
Thank you.
I want to go back to what you were saying about SHD and young people earlier.
Yeah, I mentioned the back then, we had the slogan, tourism is everybody's business. And in partnership with the SHTA and the SMTA, what we did, we went into schools. We hand out T-shirts with that slogan because it was important for everybody to know at that level, at that age, to know that, this is the business that we are in. This is our livelihood, and we have to preserve it. So if you instill that in the young ones, that tourism is important, probably 5, 10 may seek to go into that industry. They may seek that as a career. You heard me mention I went to Holland, my family and I, because one of our daughters, she graduated, and so we went and she had friends. She has friends in Holland, and we had a celebration for her one night, and her friends were invited, and we were sitting down having dinner, and conversation came up, and all St. Martiners, young St. Martiners. I remembered one is studying to be a nurse. Others pharmaceuticals. There was a young gentleman, Savio. I must call his name because we had so much very good conversation. He's a industry professional. He's studying hospitality, and I asked him. I said, Savio, when are you coming back home? And he said to me, he said, Marcel, I don't think I'm ever coming back to St. Martin to work. And I was like, what? I said, Savio, St. Martin needs you. I mean, St. Martin needs you because this is the industry that we have, that we are. This is who we are as a people. We're in the hospitality industry, and we need, the likes of you to come back home and be part of the growth of the country. He was like, no, I don't think that. There's nothing in St. Martin for me to do. We are not appreciated in St. Martin. That hurt me. And so did the others. I mean, a nurse, one studying pharmaceuticals, and I'm like, guys, St. Martin's needs you. I mean, you need to come back home. And every one of them said, that's not going to happen. We prefer, we're in Holland right now. We're going to make a life here. My daughter, our daughter, she just received her master's in international law, and she's going to further pursue her studies later this year. She's going back to Holland. And in conversation, she's like, what? I think this is the last stint for St. Martin because she's going to Holland. She's not coming back. And we have 3 daughters. I mean, one, she's working with me at the resort. I'm trying to, inject that in her vein. I mean, she has great potential. And we had the other daughter. She has her own little business. She's into the cosmetology and
that's good.
So she's doing her own thing, and I'm very proud of them. But when I look at where we are as a country right now, okay, I think we need all hands on deck. SHTA, SMTA, the St. Martin Timeshare Association, of which I was a former chairman for many years. But we need to get back to the drawing board to try to develop, okay, the young ones. Develop the young ones and guide them into this industry. I think too much times we allow, and again, everyone is free to pursue the career that they choose. But I think we have to start to select at least 5 individuals to say, listen, this is an industry that I need you to pursue because this is who we are as a people. We are a tourism destination. I've had opportunities to work very closely with the St. Martin University. They would come down and they would call and they would say, listen, Marcel, we want our class of hospitality to come down and do a tour of the property. I've extended an open door. I said, not only could you come down and do a tour, I invite you to come down on a Saturday when we're busy to be part of the action, because I want to ensure that we inject that hospitality brand in our people. We need to get back to training, teaching, developing our people. Mr. Gibbs, what is the most important? What is most important at any industry, at any business? For me, it's not a physical plant. For me, it's not a physical appearance. For me, it's the human resources. The individual that is going to take care of that guest. The individual that's going to take care of you when you come to the property.
Right.
So we need to invest. We need to invest in our people.
I'm glad you say that. When you look at the industry today, it has changed a lot.
Yes.
From the time I was there. Mm-hmm. We had mainly hotel rooms. Now it's mainly timeshare rooms.
Correct, yeah.
I don't know how many rooms your resort have right now.
We have 355 rooms. We lost 60 units after Irma, so we're at 355 rooms right now.
So you're all planning to?
Well, again, it's a discussion that keeps coming up. We're not sure yet, and again, it's all relative to the need. Right now, today, the resort is about 93% occupancy. But for some reason, St. Martin, we have not mastered that trend compared to an island like Aruba, where year-round they have been continuously to operate at an occupancy of maybe 85, high 80s.
That's amazing.
Year-round.
That's amazing.
Okay, St. Martin, we have maintained that. I would say 6 months.
So we're still not off-season period?
We're still not all season. And if you allow me, I would love to give kudos to the current Minister of Tourism. And why would I do that? Because there's a lot of talk about the Soul Beach, you know, and I don't know the intricacies, the ins and outs of what's happening within government.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not my business. I'm a resort executive. I want to put heads on beds because I want to make sure the staff that I have, they're paid and they're able to maintain their family. That's my responsibility. Yeah. And when we speak about Soul Beach, how do I view the Soul Beach Festival? I view it as this. Our season has run from December to April.
That's
10 years ago,
high season.
yeah, high season. Yeah. 10 years ago, it was March, because after Heineken Regatta, you know, we would go down to maybe 65, 70%. We have extended that season right now because of Carnival. Okay, so April. So at the end of April, we still maintain a 85, 90% occupancy. What happens in May? So here's an opportunity where, as an island, we are able to extend our high season by 1 more month. Why not take the opportunity? Again, I do not know what will be the results, but I believe in trying. I believe, I look at the glass as half full. It's never half empty for me. It is half full. I see the opportunity, and I think we need to jump on that opportunity. Again, I don't know the involvement, the ins and outs of what's happening behind the doors and the corridors of government, but I could tell you, I see it as an opportunity, as a country where we could extend our season to that 5th month or even that 6th month. So we need to come up with ways and means of and start to be creative.
I understand a lot of people in the media have been very critical of it.
Yes.
I have not made any comments. I reserve my comments to see what happened.
Exactly.
And then after that, we will go from there.
That's right. That's right.
So, but I think you make a very important point here, that a lot of people used to say, oh, well, St. Martin doesn't have off-season anymore. The months of May, June, July, August, September, October, November are considered like a shoulder period in this whole tourism aspect. But listening to you, that's not necessarily true.
That's not necessarily true. We have opportunities. We just need to go out and seek those opportunities. I mean, why not? And again, I'm just giving ideas here. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Aruba does it very well. They have the film festival. They have that festival, this festival. I don't think there's St. Kitts have the St. Kitts Music Festival. I don't think there's a gospel festival nowhere in the region. I don't think so. Why not put heads together and come up with a wonderful festival that would draw?
That's a big industry, right?
It is a big industry.
Yeah.
That would draw people to our shores. We need to be creative.
Well, somebody's watching or listening, they'll jump on it.
Yes, I have a good friend, Mr. Rude. We're having conversations. So I think he's working on something that's very good, yeah.
About the rates of rooms now, what's the average rate of a room?
Well, again, in the high season, here is where we have the parity. And in the high season, we do very well in terms of rate. You would get a 1-bedroom from anywhere from $450 a night. For a 2-bedroom could run you anywhere to $850 a night. Compare, and you look at comparison to Aruba, they have very consistent rates. So
really?
their ADR is anywhere around $550 a night.
Wow.
If we compare our ADR, and again, it's not only for Simpson Bay Resort, but I know within the market on the island, our ADR, sometimes drop like to 300 to maybe 275, maybe even at 225 in the low season. Okay. Because again, you have to drop your rates, because you need, the business of this of hotels is having heads on beds. Because if I have a head and a bed, we have 5 restaurants at the property. I need to make sure to feed those restaurants with individuals, and I could only do that when somebody's staying at the property. They would consume at the restaurant. If that bed is empty, it's a ripple effect. The restaurants suffer, everybody suffers.
Car rental, everybody
suffers. So I need to make sure that we need to be creative and do what we have to do to make sure we continue to market this island to bring people to St. Martin.
Sometimes I know that some of the hotels in St. Martin have these special rates for locals during the off season. You all do that also?
We also do that. I mean, it's a good market. It's called the staycation, staycation market. It is, we started that in 2020.
Okay.
When there was COVID, and Oral. I pursued that because I was like, okay, this is something that we need to do because nobody was coming to the island. And this is a joke that I always share with the staff. So this weekend we, staycation, I mean, the lobby was packed, people coming in, checking in. And I left my office and I went up the hill and I got to the pool. Overall, when I saw the amount of people up there, my heart squinched. I was like, oh my gosh. There were so many local St. Martiners up by the pool. I got scared. Because for me, it was like, okay, what's going on, I got scared. So, but it was, of course, you have the good part, but then you also have the negative because, I've seen it in Mexico. I had the opportunity of working with this company. I traveled to Mexico and I stayed for a month to do my training. And they have what you call Mexican season. And I was there during that period. But listen, Mr. Gibbs, the resort is filled with Mexicans. And then you see them coming in with their coolers, their containers.
They
forget they're going to a hotel. So I had that same experience, and that reminded me of what I saw in Mexico. So, I mean, people were by the pool with the coolers and the containers. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not the bedoeling, this is not the idea. The idea was for people to come and, they have a good time, showcase the resort one way, but also allow them to have a good time, but to consume at the bars. We have bars at all, the majority of the pools. So this was an opportunity for them. But then when you see them walking in with their coolers by the pool and they're not consuming by the bars, I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? But thank God it worked out very well, for us. And, we continue to do it every year where we do promotions that would focus on staycations for the local St. Martiners. Because, it's important. It's important. Like I said, I may have the opportunity to travel abroad to see different things. But there's so much St. Martiners have not visited a hotel locally. It's important. We need to get out and experience different things because that helps us to grow mentally.
I'm glad that you're doing that because what has happened over the years, a lot of local people felt that they were not welcome at the hotels. And the hotels sometimes unknowingly did that to local people.
Yeah, but do you have hotels right now that offer what you call day passes? And that is, for me, that is geared towards the local community. So that is also good because it's an experience where people could go and sit by the pool and consume at the restaurants, at the bars. But you usually see that in the lower seasons that other resorts do that.
We've seen a lot of development take place in St. Martin right now, private investment. But what we are not seeing are the construction of hotels.
Correct.
You're surprised about that?
I'm very surprised. But again, I look at it from two different perspectives because I think as an island we need to grow. We need to grow in room capacity. Definitely, I think we have between hotels and resorts, timeshare rooms. I think we're around 4,800, maybe 5,000 rooms. We need to grow. Aruba. I mean, they have about 27,000 rooms. I don't think we need to be there, okay? But I think if we get to maybe the 10,000 room mark, where we could, have more tourists come to the island, but we need to be mindful of our infrastructure, okay? While there may be opportunities to build more hotel rooms. I experience this every week. People they're happy to be here. They're happy to be in St. Martin. But then when they have to spend 2 hours in traffic from the airport to the resort, that is not a nice experience for them to go through on their first day on the island. So I'm very cautious in saying that we need more rooms. We also need to improve our infrastructure. And improving our infrastructure means, focusing on repairing the roads, but it's also let's try to look at different networks that, we could, improve our road network so that the flow of traffic could be, improved, so to speak.
Is the tri-state area our biggest market still?
Still our biggest market.
Really?
Still our biggest market.
We need to get out of that.
Yeah,
to really
and we need to look at different markets. Again, as an island, I think right now St. Martin is at a crossroad where, and my hat's off and my heart goes out to our timeshare members, and I say that without reservation because they have been the driving force behind this country. Timeshare members, whenever there's a natural disaster, hurricane, whatever you have it, they're the first to come back to St. Martin. And it's not only about come back to St. Martin. They roll up their sleeves and they get involved in the rebuilding process. So I have to give my hats off to them. But I think in having the opportunity to sit with a lot of timeshare members, they're getting old. And what you're hearing them telling you, my kids do not want to, take over my timeshare. I mean, these are people that are coming for 40, 45 years. And when they're telling you, the kids have been coming maybe with them for 20 years. Mm-hmm. So as an individual, maybe the children are saying that, okay, well, I've been there for the past 20 years. I want to explore new destinations. I don't want to be going there for 40 years. So we need to pursue new markets that is going to inject new blood, new tourists into this island. But again, it all comes back to marketing. Yeah. It all comes back to the marketing dollars. I'm not going to hit on government, but I'm going to say, when you look at different countries, I mean, even right now, Curacao, and this is factual information, where they have maybe a budget for marketing of maybe $20 million. We are still, as a tourism destination, we are still struggling with, 4,000, 5,000 5 million guilders. I mean, something is wrong with that picture, Mr. Gibbs. And I think we need to seriously define who we are, what we want to do, where we want to go, and who we want to be as a destination.
I don't know if it's because the whole industry changed in St. Martin. I can recall Muller Bay. Mm-hmm. Muller Bay used to market the property, but also the island.
Correct.
In the Sunday New York Times. Mm-hmm. And other hotels used to also contribute. The
Correct.
government had a budget at the time. Mm-hmm. Things were a lot
mm-hmm.
better. Maybe I'm saying this not knowing the facts here, right? But maybe because we have changed to mainly timeshare now, and very few hotels are really marketing themselves the way, say, like Muller Bay did, and everything is now basically focused towards the government picking up the slack on marketing. Maybe that's a problem. I don't know.
That's possible. I mean, that is a possibility. And to say, I mean, because when we look at timeshare, you have that 85% return
Right.
guests. I mean, they know where they want to go. They know this. They're coming back to St. Martin year after year. And they have been our marketing tool. They
Right.
have been the ones that are out there marketing St. Martin. But again, based on what I just said, when you have the conversations and then they're telling you that my children do not want to take over
Right.
my timeshare, it becomes
Right.
a red flag for me, because I'm like, okay, if your children do not take over your timeshare, that means you're going to relinquish your timeshare.
Right.
If you relinquish your timeshare, that means nobody is coming. Okay? So I have to now be creative. At the resort, at Simpson Bay Resort, right now, our ratio has flipped. While we were timeshare, pro timeshare, our season, we had 60% timeshare members, 30-40% rentals. That has changed.
Right.
That has changed. We are now seeing a 40% timeshare members and a 35-40% rental, transient guests. So to say we are a timeshare property, yes, we are a timeshare property, but we are running a hotel as well. So, and I'm sure other timeshare resorts are seeing the same effect.
I think when I said tri-state area, I want to just clarify that for my viewers or listeners who are not aware of the term tri-state. It's New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Correct, yes.
I walked into a store, a very upscale store on Fifth Avenue, New York, a few years ago. And after having a short conversation with the lady in the store, she asked, "Where are you from?" I said, "St. Martin." She said, "St. Martin?" She said, "I've been going to St. Martin for over 20 years. My parents even longer than that." She loves the place.
Yeah.
In New York, it's like almost everybody knows about
St. Martin. Everybody knows St. Martin. That's right. That's right.
So, we're a great island. I still say we're the best place in the world.
I agree with you 100%. I would say it without a doubt. I love this country. I love St. Martin. And for me, we are still the best island in this region.
We're the playground of the Caribbean.
We are the playground. We are the playground of the Caribbean, yes.
Yeah. And I'm so happy that I had this opportunity to speak with you, because in this industry, we're really fickle when it comes to local management. Mm-hmm. When I was around, Mother was all local managers. Then things started to change. Today, you're one of a few, I think, in the industry, right?
Yes. I believe it's probably 2, if I'm not mistaken. Could be maybe 3. I know of Evans. She manages Royal Palm currently. I think within the industry, it's more expat, more from the U.S. But it's something that I've taken note of, and I'm doing whatever I can to encourage, individuals who have desire to make hospitality management a career. I do whatever I can to take them under my arm and try to guide them. And I've made my doors open. Like I said, during the I work very closely with the University of St. Martin, and I need to give a shout out to Karen Hanna, who's doing her part, to ensure that tourism.
She used to be at the SHG at one time.
She used to be at the SHG at one time. So, but she's very involved now in developing individuals in the market. So I worked very closely with her and trying to see how we could continue to develop and make sure that there are a couple of St. Martiners out there that want to take over the mantle of leadership. Well, it's not easy.
Oh, tell me.
10, 12 hours a day. If you're committed, if you're committed, sometimes, my family, it's a sacrifice that I have to make for my family. But it is not an easy job, but you have to be passionate about it. And if I see somebody that has a potential, I will sit with them. I will call them in my office. I will say, "Listen, I see you have potential. What do you think about this?" And I explain them. I say, "Listen, this is the pros, this is the con. I mean, you're going to be stretched to limits that you do not imagine, because, and I say this because you heard me say this, leadership. If you desire to be on top, if you desire to be a leader, you first have to become a servant. So you want to lead, you will have to serve people. So you will have to serve people. Yeah.
Well, as a Javois, it was a pleasure having you in the program. So I just want to thank you, because you're one of a few endangered species of this.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But from meeting you and listening to you and hearing from what others have to say about you, I hope and I wish we can have more like you, because it make the industry better.
It is my responsibility and others around me to ensure that takes place. Like I said, we need to preserve this tourism product that we have, and tourism is everybody's business. So we need to get involved, do your part to make sure that the individuals that come to our shores, that we show them gratitude.
All right, Mr. Marcel Javois, he is the general manager of the Simpson Bay Resort and Spa. It was a pleasure having you, sir. All right.
Well, thank you very much. God bless you and your establishment.
Thank you.
And your program.
Thank you. And that's it for now on Speaking of Everything on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. See you next time. Take care. Bye.